Hey, John.
Hi, Tony.
Okay, so thanks for joining, everybody. Another one of these brief Teams talks. Today, I wanted to just kind of do a brief overview of PubMed Central in case you haven't used it a lot or are not familiar with it. A lot of times it's kind of confusing, the difference between like what's the difference in PubMed and PubMed Central and Medline, because they're all kind of dealing with, they're overlapping kind of in that Venn diagram of what they cover. And in the past, I know I've done some sessions on PubMed, and that we have a unique PubMed link that connects all the citations in the PubMed database to our holdings at the university. So by using our PubMed link, you can find access to full text holdings here at the university. Medline is actually a separate resource that we pay for. We pay for Medline Ultimate through EBSCO, and Medline Ultimate indexes full text content of citations that are in PubMed. So all of the full text articles in Medline will have a citation in PubMed, but not all citations in PubMed will show up as full text in Medline. So that's kind of the difference there. PubMed Central is a open access, free access resource that's built by the National Library of Medicine. It kind of goes side by side with PubMed, except it indexes, it's all full text and open access. So while we can't find full text of everything in PubMed Central, everything you find, you're going to find full text access to. So that's the basic difference between this and just regular PubMed or Medline. But what's kind of cool is that because the National Library of Medicine built PubMed Central, it works. It basically probably looks very familiar to PubMed if you use PubMed at all. So any of the search functions, advanced searching that you can do in PubMed, you can use those same techniques here in PubMed Central. Everything's still indexed with medical subject headings, so you can still use those to search this database. It's just that anybody, and really the cool thing about this is that anybody, whether this has nothing to do with being affiliated with Liberty University or any educational institution, anybody can access PubMed Central and get this full text content for free as open access content. So just a couple things I want to show. There's an A to Z journal list that you can access. These are journals that participate with PubMed Central, so they're going to publish, they're going to put full text content into this database. And what's kind of cool is in scrolling through this, you can see they update this with journals that used to participate but no longer do. Some of these journals, these AACE clinical case reports, they are full, immediate participation with PubMed Central. So when something gets published in this journal, it's going to be available in PubMed Central. If you're familiar with some of the resources we have at the library that we have electronic access to, but they embargo some of the most current content. The first one that comes to mind is New England Journal of Medicine. We have access to electronic the electronic journal of New England Journal of Medicine, but they embargo the most current 3 months, so you can't get the most current articles electronically. But we do have the physical volume here, so I can still get those for you. But that's just something that some vendors do. And you'll see some of these, this academic forensic pathology, they do 12 months. Some of them will embargo different amounts, kind of like New England Journal of Medicine, but it'll tell you here. And there's a ton of journals. There's a total, I think it's like, there's 2,667 journals that participate at some level in PubMed Central. So they're gonna put that full text content into this database for open access. But like I was saying, because this is built by the National Library of Medicine, the search function works just like PubMed. So if you know how to use PubMed, you know how to use PubMed Central. And so like, for example, in the advanced, this looks just like PubMed, and you can build your searches using medical subject headings. And I was just playing around with this and doing LDL, cholesterol, statin, red yeast rice, and you can actually build your advanced searches like this, and you'll see we get down to 376 articles. But what's cool about this is you'll see, while this does look very much like PubMed, underneath every article title and abstract or citation, you'll see that you can get this article in PubReader or a PDF. Everything is full text in here. So this is really pretty cool, especially if, I don't know, for our students, that if they're going to be doing research after they graduate, when they might not have access to all of our resources anymore, they're still going to have access to this. And this is all full text. Something else that's cool about PubMed Central is that if you've used PubMed, you've probably used Facets, where you can sort out what types of publications, whether you're looking for clinical case studies or systematic reviews or meta-analyses. This PubMed Central has some different facets that you can use, and the one that I think is particularly interesting is this research funder. So I can go through a search in PubMed Central and I can say, I only want to see articles that were funded by NIH. And now I've got 30 articles that dealing with LDL cholesterol, statins, and red yeast rice that were funded by the NIH. And in my view, the thing that's interesting about that is that if you're concerned about publication bias based on who's funding that research, that could be useful. Or you might say, I only really want to see articles that you only think articles are quality if they've received some NIH funding. And something else to mention too is that part of public policies associated with things that are funded by NIH is that they're supposed to submit full text, the full text articles to this PubMed Central so they're available. So there are public policies in place that are attached to things like NIH funding that make sure that they show up in this database. Let me see what else. There's over 7 million full text articles in here, so it's a really robust database, especially for a free resource. And the other thing I want to mention too is, I don't know if you've ever come across this. There's a partner resource for PubMed Central called Europe PMC, and it's the same kind of open access. Let's see if I can get to it here. They're still going to have open access to full text content. They just have a different parent organization, but they are considered a partner with PubMed Central, but they're more focusing on international publications, whereas PubMed Central is mostly going to be focusing on, where did I go? Mostly going to be focusing on things that are published in the United States. So, but all the tools that, if you want to build advanced searches from sessions that we've done on using PubMed, you can do that here. If you're building, say you're recording your methodology for a systematic review, you can grab your advanced search here that you want to include in your protocol for that if you're doing something like that. I can even look for retracted articles in here. And again, it connects to Medline, which is kind of cool, some overlap. And I can use other facets for date range if you're looking for more current content. There is some information on the main PubMed Central website, on the main page, landing page for authors. So if you're going to make a submission, there's information here to determine whether or not your paper could be considered for being archived in PMC. So that's just something to stay aware of as authors of your papers. But that's mostly what I wanted to show today. I know that's very brief, but it's just a really useful resource. I don't have a link to this on the main LUCOM library page. I might ask Chris to add it for us. But if you're looking for a link, I mean, you can just go directly to PMC. But if you go to our either course guides and textbooks or our A to Z medical database, where all of our electronic resources are here alphabetically, you can just scroll down. You'll find I've got a link to PubMed Central here. It's not proxied like our other links because it's all open access, so you don't have to sign in with a Liberty username or password or anything to access it. I just put it there because I thought students might find it useful. But I might ask Chris if he could go ahead and add that. Since we've got Medline here and PubMed, it may be good to have PubMed Central here. Just the fewer clicks, the better to get things. So that's all I really had for today. I appreciate you guys taking time out to visit with me. And again, this is recorded, so I'll put it up on the research guide along with all the other recordings of all of these Teams talks.
So Bob, can you tell me again, what's the difference between PubMed and PubMed Central?
Okay, so PubMed is going to have all index citations and abstracts of all kinds of research. It's not going to, when we use our PubMed link, I've showed this before. If you go directly to PubMed, you'll just find citations and abstracts of all kinds of everything that's indexed in PubMed, which is tons and tons of research. But if you use our PubMed link, you'll see that VA LUCOM lib is the outside tool. And so when what that does is connects all the citations and abstracts that are in PubMed to our university holdings. So the only reason we see this Get It at Liberty, you'll see this is Elsevier open access too, but the only reason we see Get It at Liberty is because we've configured this outside tool, and the National Library of Medicine has given us a special link to PubMed that connects all of their citations and abstracts to our full text content. If somebody just goes straight to PubMed, they're not going to see Get It at Liberty. PubMed, so PubMed, if you think of PubMed as just indexed mostly of citations and abstracts, PubMed Central is full text. It's a full text archive. Everything in the PubMed Central database is full text and open access.
Okay, but everything in PubMed Central will be in PubMed
as a citation.
As a citation.
So, like if I just like I'm trying to think of an example here, if I can find a good one. So if I go searching for, okay, this is full text. So the full text article is available here in PubMed Central. If I go just directly to PubMed, not our link to PubMed, but just regular PubMed, and I search that title. Okay, it's already connected. I'm still in my outside tool, but you'll see that it's the citation is here for that same article is here in PubMed, but the link to the full text, you'll see it shows even free full text in PubMed Central or in this full text hypertension or Get It at Liberty. So does that make sense? Like the citations are all in PubMed, but so everything in PubMed Central, the citation for it will be in PubMed, but the difference is in PubMed Central, you'll have direct access to the full text article.
Okay.
So if there's no more questions, thank you guys for joining, and I'm happy to do these. And if there's anything you guys have questions about, please let me know. I'm happy to do different. I just do things I think would be useful to people, but I'm happy to do some of these on questions people might have. So
no, I think these are good, and I go back and when I don't sit in on these things, I've listened to the other ones that you recorded and stuff. So
okay.
Even though I'm not maybe showing up, I do go and use them as a resource. So I think they are valuable.
Okay, good.
So
I agree with that.
Thanks for that.
Sure.
Yep.
I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Absolutely, Dr. Ojola.